you know, amidst all the negativity that surrounded the club for the last 36 months or so, perhaps in the last few months, one of the main reasons as to why there seems to be a new injection of positivity within the atmosphere surrounding the club is the new leadership structure, spearheaded by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, of course, but it's not just him. It's the new footballing structure that he seems to have introduced at the club. They've appointed Sir David Brailsford as the Director of Sport from Ineos. Jean-Claude Blanc is there as the Ineos Sports Chief Executive. But the four key appointments, Omar Barada from Manchester City, appointed as the new Chief Executive Officer of United. Dan Ashworth has signed on as Sporting Director. Jason Wilcox as Technical Director, as well as Christopher Vivell as Interim Director of Recruitment. Now, I mean, before we get into the nitty-gritty details of some of the decisions that they have made, Lee, I mean, as a former Manchester United player, how big of a move is this restructure at bottom level?
I think it's huge. I think again, it declares intent. It says we're taking things serious. I think Brailsford coming out of cycling and what he did for in the Olympics, and he's all about millimetres of change that make a bigger change altogether. I think he's huge, you know, I think they've bought well this summer. I think they're already behind the scenes. They're now buying up younger players, and you know, Ten Hag has always said it's not about winning the league this season. This is a long-term project. It's been a long time, a sort of messy situation that's going to take a little while to sort out, and I think they're showing that they are doing that. But it is going to be a slow process. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to see it in the second game of the season, but I think you will see it over the stretch of this season and for seasons to come.
Given that football is a game of 90 minutes and sometimes we live in a world of instant reactions. We want things to happen fast. We want outcomes to be instant. We want changes to happen overnight as well. But the reality is, Gary, I mean, I was reading a book called Kaizen just a few days ago, and that book briefly mentions Sir Dave Brailsford as well as the guy who came in and revolutionized British cycling by insisting on the principle of Kaizen, which is one small bit of change at a time. Nothing too overwhelming, nothing too large scale, and that eventually changed the outcome and the dynamics of the British cycling team. So, as Man United fans, do you think they should be a lot more patient with the change that's happening at the club, especially when you've got people like what we just saw on the graphic, trying to make small incremental changes one day at a time?
You know, the truth is we don't live in a patient world, do we? As
Unfortunately,
you said.
yeah.
It's all about now. I want it now. Actually, I want it yesterday. That's even better. So I believe that, yes, it is about tiny steps. It's about every day edging forward. And I think under the new regime at Manchester United, I think that the plan is that for the next year, they're looking forward. And at the end of the next 12-month period is the time they'll look back and see how far they've come. Because I always think that, you know, if you look back to, oh, we've made a bit of an improvement, or we've made a... For me, it's like trying to lose weight, for example. If every day you get on the scales, then basically, you know, you don't see any real differences. But if you get on the scales and you have your plan and you work at it for the next month, then you get on the scales, you see a difference, you see an improvement. And I think that will be their philosophy. They're trying to block out the noise. You know, that's the popular word these days, isn't it? The noise in and around the club, in and around the football, in and around the individual players. And you know, when you look at the resources that Manchester United have, when you look at the lineup of that board structure and the staff, you know, Barada, for example, who did a great job while he was at Manchester City as chief executive. You know, they're proven people. I think they'll get it right. But, you know, it took, in a different era, it took Sir Alex Ferguson a lot of years to start to get it right at Manchester United.
Just a small bit of change even that could potentially represent a huge shift in culture for Manchester United is the acquisition of a young footballer from Mali by the name of Sekou Kone. Apparently United are very close to signing him on board from a club in Mali. He was one of their star players at the Under-17 World Cup as well, and He represents Manchester United's future in the number 6 position. And I say this, I'm suggesting that this could be a huge sign. And I'm intrigued to get your thoughts, Lee, because, over the last 10 years or so, we've heard so many stories about Man United scouts identifying talents, but then nothing is ever done to get it across the line in terms of bringing them to the club. United famously missed out on the likes of Moises Caicedo a few years ago when he was playing a starring role in the Ecuadorian league. So do you see this signing as probably the dawn of a new era where United will be a lot more serious building the team at ground level?
Yeah, I think he's building for the future with young players like that. But I think the whole recruitment system at Manchester United hasn't worked for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They've bought, ex-managers have accused the club of buying people for social media, and sort of sponsorship and shirt sales rather than fitting into the team. And I think now they're buying players that they can see will fit into a system that they're trying to build throughout the club. And you find that most clubs that are successful, or all clubs that are successful, the way that the team play comes right through the club. It just doesn't come when the players hit the first team. Man United have always had young players coming into the team, no matter where they've been. But there's this identity and this, let's buy players and fit players to the way we play rather than just buy names and buy people that are going to sell shirts. I think it's part of the group rather than the individual thing.